Okay, the last bit of this lesson is the discussion of question answers. You must be surprised that I've written only 3 questions here. Yes, nothing more than this can be asked. It only talks, as I told you, the whole lesson talks about empowerment of women, how women can be empowered, given more power by making them learn it and making them more and more independent. So only 2 possible questions, or maybe even if there are questions, it will be revolving around the same idea. So you don't have to panic if you get different question. The theme in the question would be the same thing. So it could be this too. Role of Arivoli. Arivoli, you remember what is Arivoli? It is a cycling camp. It is a literacy drive. So both of them put together. Both of them started in the same place. So role of Arivoli in empowering women. How literacy empowered women and how cycling also empowered women. So you'll have to just remember 3 to 4 names. Jamila Bibi, then Fatima, then Avakani, and also Kannamal. So these are 4 people who were in Arivoli, and they all practiced cycling. They learned cycling. They empowered themselves because of this, and they also spread the message of happiness by cycling to others. That message also that was given to others. So what is the role of it? It just tells people in the villagers, the women over there, to become literates, and they were further called as neo-literates. And these neo-literate women, they also wanted to break free the norms and the barriers set by the men in the society. So they just came out and wanted to learn the cycling, the process of cycling. They came out, they learned cycling, and remember in the previous clipping, you would have seen those 5 points I had written here, 3 to 4 points, that economic implication that it had. So all this they enjoyed, and therefore they all became more and more empowered women by the help of learning how to ride a cycle. So next question, she is the mastermind behind all this, Sheila Rani Chunkat. How did she help the people to become more and more empowered? See, in your textbook, there's a big paragraph on Sheila Rani Chunkat only. So there you can write down all the points. She also, she goes and requests the cycle companies, in fact, to give them cycles at a very nominal rate. So she does that also. She herself, she pays money for buying cycles for few women. Again, I had written here 2 points, if you remember. There were 2 points over that were written here. How she promoted, education into this. She wanted the female activists to be empowered so that literacy could reach into the corners and the nook and the corner of this village. So she had all these things in her mind, and that was her dream child. So she makes the female activists more and more powerful, empowered, and then that was taken into the last person in the village. So all these things, as I told you, you see the paragraph in your lesson. There you get lots and lots of ideas and points about Sheila Rani Chunkat's dream child. So only possible 6th question is this: cycling as a symbol of independence, freedom, and mobility. Mobility is movement, moving from one place. Actually, physical movement. It is no kind of movement for freedom and all those things. Physically, you can move from one place to another. How is cycling helping you in that? So that you will write down. Freedom and independence are 2 different terms. Please do not get confused with that. Independence, because you are not dependent on anybody at all. So how does cycling give this kind of independence, freedom, and mobility to the women? You'll have to elucidate this, or you'll have to explain this. So you will have to write down all the main points that are there in the chapter, and again you'll have to write down the names. You'll have to write down the concepts. If there are few things, if you can remember the events also, 1991 is one date when Sheila Rani Chunkat, she got the idea of putting a cycling movement into the brain of this activist. So that also you can write. And again, the lesson itself is just a very simple one. It talks about the empowerment, it talks about the movement, it talks about a big life-changing incident, that is cycling. So these things you will have to include here. Independence, how people, remember the first clipping you had around 4 or 5 points that they had written, they got time, who are the people who wanted to learn cycling, and what were the economic implications, and how did they face, what kind of humiliation and filthy comments that they had to face. In spite of all that, they wanted to learn because they got independence. They did not have to wait for anybody to help them to travel from one place to another. All these points, the summary of the whole lesson, will be the answer for this. I hope this answers could be written in a neat fashion. I think I am very confident you people will do it. So this completes the lesson on cycling, where there is a wheel by Sainath. Any doubts? I don't think so you should have. Okay. All the best. Study well.